Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please proceed.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You're the mayor of the city of Clinton,
Yes, I am.
and you have been mayor since 2008, correct?
Correct.
Before that, you were a member of the city council for 4 years,
4 years.
and you were aware of this lawsuit that was filed by Timothy Schulteis in 2008.
September, yes.
Yes. And had you discussed that with the city attorney or city administrator around the time that it was filed or subsequent to that time?
That's when I was first made aware of it through the city administrator.
And neither of them thought that it was a particularly big deal, did they?
At that time, it was explained to myself that it was a disgruntled employee, and there was only a few bills that we had a problem with.
Right. And so it wasn't something that rose to the top of your priority list based on that advice and information?
It was on the radar, but not the top of the priority at the time.
Now, when it came time to discuss settlement of this lawsuit, you were not given any of the specifics about the conclusions that were reached from the investigation that were conducted by the lawyers and the expert?
Specifics, no.
Yes. You concluded that the attorneys and a judge had indicated the amount that should be settled, and that's what the city was advised to do, and that's basically what was done.
Those are the recommendations of council, yes.
And you think the world of Mark Regenweather,
Yes.
and you were not in favor of terminating Mark from the fire department, were you?
No.
Do you, to this day, know the amount that it was alleged that was overbilled to the city?
No.
Have you asked for that information?
Yes, I have.
Has it been provided to you?
No, but it's scheduled to be provided at the Internal Operations Committee at 30th of this month.
Okay. You consider Mark to be an exemplary firefighter who served the city for over 30 years well.
Yes.
Do you think there'd be any harm to the fire department if Mark were retained as a firefighter at his former civil service rank before he was appointed chief?
I'm not aware of what that was. His former rank before he was chief?
Yes.
Would that be battalion chief? No.
Whatever, I'm not sure either, but whatever it was.
I would say no.
In your judgment, you've worked with Mark over the years, he's not the kind of guy that would try to undermine a new chief if he were left on the department, is he?
No.
And you're not critical of Mark Regenweather for not instituting a more aggressive investigation at the time the complaint was filed?
No.
The city administrator has the responsibility to make sure the city is acting in compliance with the laws.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes.
That's all I have.
I have no questions.
Mr. Bill.
I know.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, sir. Mark Regenweather would call LaMetta Wynn.
LaMetta, would you solemnly swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Proceed.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You were mayor of this town from 1995 to 2007, is that correct?
That's right.
Before that and during your working life, you were a registered nurse
That's true.
at the hospital.
Yeah.
You recall accompanying Mark Regenweather and Mike Brown out to Des Moines when the building code issue
Yes.
Was up for consideration.
Yes,
Is that
I-
correct?
That's true, yes.
And the purpose of that trip was to talk to the state legislature about passing a law that would mandate a building code in the city of Clinton, basically.
That's right.
And that was successful.
Yes, it was.
You have a high opinion of Mark Regenweather?
I do. I think Mark is, as someone has stated, he's a wonderful administrator, and he works so well with his people. And I think, having been a nurse and working at the hospital and seeing the firemen come in with ambulances, I think the way they perform reflects on who's the boss.
You're familiar with people in the community who know Mark, and you're familiar with his reputation in the community.
Right, yeah.
What would you say that his reputation is for truth and veracity?
Well, I think we were all shocked when we heard it and read it that any charges would be brought against Mark, because he's done such a wonderful job, and the city appreciates him so much that we were just blown away.
How about his reputation for honesty and integrity?
Well, unless he's joking with you, he's very honest.
Do you believe that Mark is the type of person who would knowingly, deliberately, or recklessly submit or allow to be submitted an incorrect claim to Medicare or Medicaid?
No, I just can't believe that, and I think if he were really trying to do harm to the city or to the people who live here, he would have money, but he didn't get anything out of this, and that's why we all believe that if we don't disagree that it happened, but we don't believe that he did anything that he thought would harm the city.
Were you instrumental in convincing the city and county, there's a city-county 911 service that dispatches the EMS ambulance service, correct?
Yes.
Were you instrumental in persuading the 911 service to implement a medical dispatch triage system?
You know, I don't remember a lot about that, but I do know that as mayor of this city, along with Comanche and DeWitt and other cities, that we did something along that line, and I don't remember all the details.
Was it the fire department that was the motivating factor?
Yes,
And that was under Mark Regenweather?
absolutely.
I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Gold?
Thank you. Ms. Wynn, are you familiar with Andy McGovern?
Yes, I am.
And how long have you known Andy McGovern?
Gee, I don't know. A long time. I know he's been on our fire department a long time.
Okay, and you know that he's been the EMS trainer director since sometime in 2002? And that also coincided with the last 5 years of your term as mayor?
Yes.
Something like that, close?
Yeah, close,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't want to go through all of those issues, the glowing things that you said about Mr. Regenweather, but do you have similar feelings about Mr. McGovern?
Well, I really do. I sincerely believe that they've both been such an asset to our city that we're all astounded that this is happening.
And the performance of the paramedics and firefighters, do you believe that their performance positively, in your mind, also reflects on Andy McGovern in his role as the EMS training director?
I really do. Having been a nurse, I worked nights, and so when the ambulance came in and the the men who were on the ambulance were so willing to help us, and they knew so much, and anybody that's been in the emergency room at night knows there's never enough coverage, and they were always so willing to help. It was just wonderful to have them.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay.
Mr. Sibble?
No question.
Thank you.
Mark Reaganweather would call Dr. Douglas Jurgensen.